My in-laws look down on me for being a foster kid and constantly treat me like a hired help. Now they are begging me to help them because we are family, but I am done with them. I got married 9 years ago to my wife Jessica. I was a foster kid who was bounced around a lot because sometimes my bio mother would take me back, but she'd always end up losing custody again or placing me back. When she finally stopped trying, I was 11 and too old for most people who wanted babies or really little kids. So I aged out of the system without being adopted or finding a family. I had hoped when Jessica and I met that I'd be welcomed by her family. But that's not how it went. Took me years to figure it out though. They look down on me. They're not totally obvious about it, but I see it in the way they are with me versus the way they are with the other sons and daughters-in-law. Like asking them about Christmas plans but saying they didn't expect us to do anything else because I don't have a family. Or asking about the others' jobs and promotions but never me. Then acting so shocked both times Jessica or I mentioned I was promoted. There was a time when my sister-in-law mentioned a foster kid who won a scholarship to college and it made it into the local news. The whole family's reaction was, "Oh wow, a foster kid making it to college is so unexpected," and Jessica pointed out I went to college. They looked a little uncomfortable and I heard two of her siblings whisper something about Jessica in that story, so I assumed they believed she lied about where we met. They don't make an effort for my birthday. They make assumptions that I don't spend time with my kids. They assume any effort made by me is me doing it for Jessica and don't believe me when I say it's not. Yet they will always ask for my help with repairs around the house or assembling something because I'm good at that stuff. I have helped Jessica's parents and all her siblings at least twice. Once I realized that they really didn't like me and seemed to think less of me for being a foster kid, I did that stuff for Jessica and not for them. But then a few weeks ago Jessica's parents had issues with the stairs. I went and fixed them up. I spent hours working on one part and had to go and get extra materials. It was a whole thing. Some of the family came over while I was there and Jessica's parents made food for them. But nothing for me. When I asked them if there was any for me, they told me they didn't think I'd want to eat after working so hard. For hours, with no food in between. I told them they didn't think that. They simply didn't want to be polite to me and offer food after doing all that work for them. I was called out by Jessica's parents and her siblings. Jessica took my side as did some of the siblings' spouses. But I was called out again for not helping fix a shelf for one of Jessica's sisters and saying never again would I help any of them. They said family helps the family. I asked them when they ever treat me like family. Update. I decided I was done. I wasn't going to keep bending over backward for people who barely acknowledged me as part of their family. I told Jessica I wasn't fixing anything else for her parents or siblings. No more free labor for people who clearly didn't see me as one of them. She understood. She's always backed me up when it came to her family. But I knew it put her in an awkward spot. Still, she never asked me to change my mind. Sure enough, the requests kept coming. Jessica's sister texted me the next week, asking if I could come over and fix a shelf that was falling apart. I ignored it. Then her brother asked if I could help him put together a new grill he bought. The same deal left that message on read. They started to get the hint, but it wasn't long before I got another passive-aggressive lecture from one of her brothers about how family helps family. I told him straight up, "When have any of you treated me like family? You only call me when something needs fixing." That shut him up for a while. But it was clear things were shifting. We started getting fewer invites to family gatherings, and fewer texts from her siblings. Not that I cared all that much. I wasn't exactly dying to sit through another awkward dinner where they either ignored me or made backhanded comments about my background. But it still stung for Jessica. I could see it bothered her, even though she didn't say anything. Her family was slowly cutting us out. Then, a few months later, it was like the other shoe finally dropped. Jessica's parents threw a big family barbecue, and we didn't even get an invite. That was the first time something like that had happened. Jessica tried to brush it off, saying maybe it was a mistake, but we both knew better. She called her mom to ask what was going on, and her mom basically told her that I had made things uncomfortable by refusing to help the family anymore. They felt like I was being selfish and making it harder for everyone. Jessica fired back, saying if they ever treated me like family, maybe things would be different. That conversation didn't end well. From that point on, it was like we were officially on the outs. Jessica's siblings stopped reaching out altogether, and her parents only called her occasionally, never both of us. It was clear they wanted nothing to do with me anymore, and honestly, I was fine with it. The final nail in the coffin was when Jessica's dad had a health scare, and no one thought to tell us until after the fact. It was like they had fully made their decision. Jessica took it harder than I did, of course, but even she admitted that things had been strained for too long. She finally realized they were never going to accept me, and that hurt her more than anything else. So now, we're no contact with her side of the family. At first, it was weird. I think Jessica hoped they'd come around, that they'd reach out and try to mend things, but that never happened. It's been months, and honestly, I feel like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders. No more fake smiles, no more trying to prove myself to people who don't even care. Just me, Jessica, and our kids. That's the only family I need.